All right, let's just settle into there's nothing worse than toothache. Yeah, so feeling for you there, Lorraine. All right.
Thank you.
So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable meditation posture, whether you're sitting cross-legged or feet down on the ground. And just give yourself the gift of half an hour of turning inwards. And it's just like, imagine you're on retreat. You have to talk to anyone. You don't have to communicate with anyone. You're just working on your mind, just working on your internal bits and pieces. So it's almost like a breath of fresh air, having space and time to do something for yourself. So check you're nicely aligned. Sits bone, be sitting on top of your sits bone, shoulders aligned with the hips, and as best you can, just imagine your ears, your neck is lengthening, and then just gliding back in line with your shoulders. Your ears are in line with your shoulders. And just imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. A nice deep breath. And just very gently tip your head slightly forward. And what I mean by that is just to allow perhaps your chin to drop not too far. The best thing for us is to not have the chin up in the air, so you've got some kind of constriction in the back of the neck. You want the neck nice and long, but you also don't want the head kind of falling out of line with the shoulders because it adds extra weight and pulls you over time out of alignment. So we start to develop this habit of forward bending. It's actually quite bad for the brain, apparently. So as much as you can, try and stay straight. If there are any sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to follow them with the mind. Notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And just notice the thoughts that are arising in the mind. So whether it's a concern about an up and coming procedure, try and just take a step back from the emotional involvement from the stories that we all might be having about certain things, different things. Take a step back and just observe the mind, the story, the flow. And in order to help that, you can think about categorizing each story, each thought, each set of thoughts. I'm thinking, I'm planning. And try and stay reasonably objective. And then bring to mind all the people of your life, your loved ones. Spouses and children and best friends, work colleagues, favorite aunties and neighbors. And then there's those people in your life that you don't particularly like or get on with. And then there's our strangers, keeping in mind they can change place at any time. And also a sense of gratitude for these very precious relationships that we do have, that are virtuous, that are stable in their love. And what would it take to extend that level of acceptance and love to the person you don't like, or to the person who's that stranger? What kind of extra effort would be required for that? How far can you stretch your mind? And then think they're all equal and they wish to be happy and they wish to be free from suffering and having an amazing capacity for Buddhahood. So remembering there is no negativity that can't be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can create positivity instead. So we're starting with this idea of regret, the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. We know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense that we would remove those karmic seeds, we'll pull them out before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. And we turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. And we're not needing someone to forgive us. We're not needing a higher power. This is not like a creator God. This is just a Buddha who has these methods that we are using to heal ourselves. Not just a Buddha, but a Buddha. So imagine the enlightened mind of this Buddha, Vajrasattva, above the crown of your head in this form, this white, beautiful, light body, looking like this tanka, but, lots of detail in that tanka. Probably took several weeks to paint. But imagine this is something similar, and also you can imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. So he's sitting there, this Buddha form, in this cross-legged position. And he has this beautiful, radiant smile. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. And he's taking in everybody equally, without judgment, without discernment, discrimination. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. And think particularly of someone you may have harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you And just remember to have compassion for them, because they're going to suffer as a result of the harm they've done to you. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire being, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left. Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe and Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe and Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe and Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe and Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe and Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe and Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe. Then be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there is no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is a purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you. Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe and Vajrasappa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on the switch. That light instantly dispels the darkness. So the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart chakra, and all instantly, the same as the light in the room, instantly dispels all the negativity of the mind, all the darkness in the mind. So attachment and neediness and depression and anger and resentment, if there's any violence in there, and jealousy, bitterness and grudges, are all instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dinapatita Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anorecta meboa, sawasidi mipiyata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva hum te. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So now is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And imagine Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from the mind. Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dinapatita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahompe Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dinapatita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahompe Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dinapatita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahompe Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dinapatita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahompe Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dinapatita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahompe Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dinapatita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahompe Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya Vajrasappa dinapatita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ha ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva ahum pe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So we have a few minutes, so let's do some meditation here. It's on the power of resolve. This is our crucial fourth step. Is the determination to not harm with our body and our speech and our mind, or at least refrain from that. So without this determination, without making a decision, we're just going to be mindlessly doing the same old things over and over again. So the determination is kind of like, it's kind of brings us into line a little bit. We make a decision to do something. And it guides our body and our speech and our mind in different directions. So just, first of all, for a moment or two, just reflect on how far you've come, the changes that you've made in your life, how those changes have then affected the people around you, kind of spills out into their lives as well. And then think, oh, gosh, like 12 months ago, I was reacting to that kind of comment. And now I'm just taking it on board and sitting with it for a bit before I do anything with it. You don't have to do things with every single thought that comes to the mind. If it's a strong emotion, maybe often best to just hold that for a bit. Let it process, let it kind of bubble away inside and see how much of it is your own reactivity. Is it valid? Does it require a response? Would that be beneficial for the other person and for myself? Or should I just keep quiet in this instance? So in a way, these kind of determination to not harm gives us some reins. It helps us develop a little bit of wisdom around our speech, our body, our mind. So think of something you'd like to work on between now and tomorrow evening. Perhaps it's your speech, perhaps it's your mind. And this determination to refrain gives us strength to actually do something, to change. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you can think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So next Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So he would say like this: in emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level your mind can comprehend or understand emptiness, place it there for a little while, and we can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. We can also think that the way things are appearing to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And so now, for all of you who have His Holiness the Dalai Lama as your teacher, you can just think, may he have a long, healthy, happy life. And then for anyone who has had Lama Zopa Rinpoche as a teacher, we can maybe think for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's unmistaken reincarnation. And then any teachers that you have in your own life, just pray for them to have long lives, to be healthy and happy,